You guys do your thing.
Okay, you've had your fun. You've had the softball question. Now it's back to the real world. Mr. West, the fastest growing religious preference in the United States of America is nuns. People that claim no affiliation with any organized religion. In fact, the unaffiliated are now 22.8% of the population and are a larger group than all but evangelical Protestants, which numbers 25.4%, and are larger even than Catholics at 20.8%. Given those statistics, should open prayer be a part of public meetings? And if so, would you support giving non-Christians such as Muslims, Jews, Hindus, and unaffiliated equal opportunity to be heard at public meetings?
That's a great question, John, and I'm glad you asked it. A couple of people have addressed that directly to me because of my LDS faith. The Supreme Court ruled very clearly that prayer as part of ceremonial openings of public meetings is not a violation of the First Amendment. That's the law. The Supreme Court ruled that's the law. They also even went ahead and said that it doesn't matter what the religion is, even if one religion dominates. They clarified by saying that public forums need not become religious-free forums. Now, if someone from an agnostic or a non-sectarian religion chose to put their name in, I believe that's a revolving list there for our city council meetings. So I would totally support any faith, any leader of any faith stepping up and offering invocation in front of our city council meetings. Heaven knows our city council needs any divine guidance and inspiration that it can get.
Brian, many cities and some states have proposed and or passed increases in the minimum wage for workers. The federal minimum wage today is far below the minimum wages in the past as adjusted for inflation. In fact, if the minimum wage in 1968 was adjusted for inflation, it would be at least $10.90 per hour. With a large number of low-wage earners in Mesquite, who would receive and spend more if the minimum wage was increased? Would you support or oppose raising the minimum wage in Mesquite?
I would support raising the minimum wage in Mesquite. I would. It's a tough situation. I have the opportunity to deal with a lot of people that are barely scraping by right now. I think, I don't know if this is really a Mesquite city question, right? But nonetheless, I'll answer it anyway. I think that the problem that we have here is I deal with a lot of people that can barely scrape by, so they choose not to get jobs because of the fact that they make more the other way. Wonderful people, industrious people, but they make more not working. I think we need to figure out a way to do a combination where, okay, they need to work and then we help support them. But I definitely would support a raise in minimum wage.
Thank you, Brian. Just as a follow-up, there are numerous cities across the United States that have, as a city, implemented a higher minimum wage for workers in that city. So it is and can be a city.
Great, I'm there.
Mr. Baldwin, a few city council meetings back, you took some time during public comments to mention or to express your concerns over OPD's meeting laws and how OPD currently constructs their meetings. I just want to give you a chance to kind of clarify that and your stance on the way OPD operates, especially in regards to their meetings, because conversations I've had with them, they would say and they would contest that everything is transparent and can be found, readily available on their website. So just clarify those comments. What are some things you would like to see in OPD meetings as far as becoming more open and more transparent?
My comments at the city council was at the time of trying to find somebody that will raise a BDR, which is a bill draft requested to legislature. Not individual citizens can't do that. And I've been one that's been pressing OPD for many years. I've attended probably 5 years of meetings with them, and they do not follow the open meeting laws as constituted under NRS. They do a hybrid of it, and they have admitted to me that they have special meetings. I complain that they have closed-door meetings on other than what a conventional open meeting law which is basically discussions of litigation and personnel. They receive reports from auditors on the financial condition of OPD behind closed doors that the public is not aware of. And I think this is just ripe for concealment of accounting issues that may exist. But I have been told repeatedly that they do have these special board meetings that are not noticed, that are again contrary to the true open meeting law. And what I'm trying to get done is a minor modification to the NRS that would also definitely encompass OPD.
Mike, first I want to thank you for your public services, being named Citizen of the Year. It's a pretty nice honor. On the other side, you've been quite vocal at City Council and other meetings for the need for better community practices and protection services. Of course, there's not a bunch of extra money in the city budget. So what are the most important things you think the city needs to do to adequately protect its citizenry in the case of a disaster or emergency, and how would you propose funding those improvements?
Well, I would hope. Can you hear me, everybody in the back?
No.
How's that, better?
Yeah.
There you go. This new tax or business with the alcohol, what I would like to see that money go specifically to emergency services. I'm not going to get tied up with the emergency service, said enough of that on my last thing, but I will tell you this, that I rode with the Mesquite Fire 2 weeks ago on a Thursday, and there were 6 guys on a shift to cover the whole city of Mesquite. There was a transport to Vegas we couldn't handle. They had to call Beaver Dam, and that's just unacceptable. So yeah, I would like to see that money, if it goes through, go to emergency services to give the fire department and the citizens of Mesquite the services they deserve, and that's putting more guys on.
Cindy, as a representative for Sun City Mesquite, I'm going to rephrase my previous question. If you were elected, would you work collaboratively with the City of Mesquite and Fire Department, bring the two together for maintenance of the fire hydrant so it does not create a financial burden to the association, and then in turn to the residents of Sun City Mesquite?
Problem with that is exactly what Mike just said. Our guys don't have time to do it. They've tried to meet before, even at as a charge, something like $80 per fire hydrant. We don't have enough staff to do it. What if the guys were out testing fire hydrants and they get a call? When you've got 6 guys on a shift, it's just not a logical thing to do at this point. I don't have a problem with it, but they've also, in theory, that's not a bad thing. But the city would have to be compensated for it, because we're taking guys off shift to go do this. I also believe that, as we've asked the water district about this, I believe it is the water district's, it's their problem. They need to test the fire hydrants. The water pressure and stuff, we don't control, water district does. So I think that there's some problems with it that I don't necessarily think the city of Mesquite can solve. And right now, we simply don't have the manpower.
That's why I agree with what
They can't do HOAs.
Yeah.
If they're going to do HOAs,
Kind of a broad question here, Ms. Larson. But as a newcomer, what is Mesquite currently lacking that you will work to bring to the city if you're elected?
Well, I think it's more of the recreational sports for the youth. In the capital projects, there's 2 projects. They're going to bring in some more soccer fields, and then in another year, they're going to bring in more softball fields. I would like to see those programs come to here, come to Mesquite, that we get more of those so that we can have St. George be the overflow for our games instead of us being the overflow for the St. George games. And so if we build that, you know, the old adage, if we build that, they're going to come. They like Mesquite. We have great weather. We have great facilities, and the staff is awesome. But if we can build those and we get the people to come, we can have St. George be the overflow instead of us being the overflow for St. George.
Thank you. Excellent.
Well, George, the city, as we know, has a tight budget, if not exactly still a shortfall. It's a one-year anomaly. In the minds of many, there's been drastic cuts over the last 5 or 6 years. Some would say the budget has been cut too far for sustainability. Mayor Littman and his staff are putting together the finishing touches on a proposal to implement a 3% city surtax on packaged liquor sales that would go a long way toward making the budget balanced and actually have maybe some money to rebuild some of our services. I was that guy coming from Utah for 30 years in Lee's liquor store on Sunday afternoons, loading up the back of my truck or hiding shit in my truck. The bottle of my preferred whiskey at that time was $29 a bottle in Utah and $18 a bottle here. Trust me, I wouldn't have been afraid to come and buy it if it was $19 because we had a 3% tax on it. I don't think the proposal will cost our local liquor vendors business. Give us a glimpse of your future. Are you going to support or oppose the proposal?
Well, I think I made it kind of clear the other night. In principle, I'm fundamentally against tax increases just to fund something that has no direction, a nebulous, into the general fund for something. If I'm going to support a tax of any sort and then any amount, it will be solely purposed for a specific item. And I mentioned fire and safety. That would be the key element. The other thing that we are terribly short on is taking care of our upper management. The collective bargaining units get their stuff. They get their annual raises. They get their benefits. Our upper management has suffered. Fire safety, their management has gotten raises. There's a few key elements in our city that have not. I would, if we do a raise, and here's the other thing. Our backup and our support that was in that package was disputed by the Retailers Association. I want to see what they come up with and reconcile. And Lee's Liquor, the biggest purveyor, I go there too, offered a compromise at 1.75%. I want to see what that is. I don't know what the monetary impact of that is, but I would absolutely purpose any increase to a specific source. And that would probably be, in my mind, either management increase or both in fire and safety.
Mr. West, did you or do you support the activities of the Clyde and Bundy family in their armed conflict with the federal government?
Question.
Of public lands in the region? Do you or do you not think that the federal government should have the right to manage public lands that is owned in the state of Nevada?
Don't answer that. Don't answer it.
Don't answer that.
You know, I'll go ahead and give a brief answer. I've never been supportive of the tactics or the agenda of the Bundy family. I think there are real land ownership issues that should be addressed, but right now there's not a better option than what we have and what's implemented in the Bureau of Land Management. It's unfortunate that many men are in jail. It's unfortunate that their families don't have fathers in the home and with their children and earning money. But those are the consequences that they are now facing for their deliberate actions. Many people have taken political stances and have accepted the criminal consequences, and those people are celebrated in history. Whether the Bundys will, I don't think so, because they don't accept and don't acknowledge that the actions they took were illegal, and they will have to face consequences for it, and it's going to be long-term impacts on them and their families.
Mr. Wurst, I just want to ask you about something you mentioned last time you had the mic, that some people would like to be the last person to move to Mesquite. That's kind of a quote that I think some people might use to back up a sentiment that I've heard, which would say that there's some people in the city, intentionally or not, who are stymieing the growth of the city. Do you feel like that is something that's present? Do you feel like that's an issue facing the city at all?
Certain people stymie the growth of the city.
Yeah, it's something I've heard in the community that there are people who aren't interested in seeing this city expand beyond what it currently is.
Well, do you know what? I haven't experienced the personal those people that are trying to stymie growth of the city. But I'm telling you what, if there are, maybe we need to send them to Overton. If we find people that have the power to be able to stymie the city, then we're not doing our job, are we?
Right.